Hello English learners and welcome back to another video here on the Level Up English YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about terms of endearment. This is a complicated way of saying basically words we use to show affection and love and maybe indicate our relationship to other people. So these are called terms of endearment. And we have lots of them in English, and specifically, I want to cover the British ones today. British terms of endearment. These might be heard in other parts of the world, but I can only speak for the ones I know we use here in the UK. Before I get into my list of terms, I want to give a caveat, which is if you're not sure about these, it's better not to use them. Because I get messages, I get people talking with me all the time, trying to use these words, and it sometimes sounds a bit weird. And I do want to say, if you're talking to me, you're more than welcome to practice and make mistakes. I always encourage mistakes. However, in the real world, when you're talking to new people, be very careful because you might give them the wrong idea. So just keep that in mind. Try to practice these with friends and teachers rather than strangers. And I will explain what I mean by that in a little bit. The first example I'll look at today is one that I'm sure you all know, and this is the word mate. Mate. It's a commonly used word in Britain, and it means friend. It's similar to friend, but it's not quite the same. Although some people think it's used in the same way as friend, I find friend is more meaningful, it's deeper connection. If I said, good to see you again, old friend, it sounds a little bit more like we have a deeper relationship than if I said, good to see you, mate. So I would say mate is best for strangers, people you don't know, or acquaintances. It depends on the person, but I think generally if you're really, really good friends, you wouldn't use this word mate so much. It's also quite casual, so I wouldn't use it for teachers or people who are above your position in society. The next one we can look at is the word love. Love. This is not the verb to love someone. It's not that deep. You can call someone love on certain occasions. One example is older people talking to younger people. So someone who is a grandma, the elderly person, might talk to someone in their 20s or even 30s and say love. Like, oh, it's okay, love, don't worry about it. So that's one example. Another one is, strangely, customer service. So when people work in supermarkets and shops and all these things where you deal with customers, sometimes these people use the word love in similar terms. I had it the other day. I booked a table for a restaurant and the girl on the phone, she sounded similar age to me. She said, all right, love, no problem. So, all right, love, no problem. It's just a term of endearment, makes people feel closer. But I do think it's used more by women than men. I usually hear women using it, usually for people younger than them or around the same age. Another similar one is lovey, love-e. So, all right, lovey, lovey, similar meaning, similar use. The final one for love is, I don't like this one, I think most people don't, but this is men using it for women around a similar age. And I think this is quite sexist, a bit misogynistic. Like, all right, love, how's it going? Or something like that. It's not always the case. It's not always a negative thing. It can be quite innocent, the intention, but sometimes it can have a weird feeling to it. So those are the three ways I can think of that we use love. I'm going to quickly cover the word dear as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I did make a full video about dear already. So I'll probably put a link up here now or a link in the description where you can watch that full video. It's a very complicated word with many different uses, and I see learners get this wrong all the time. I'm going to cover two ways we use it now. So one is, again, older people talking to younger people. All right, dear. Another one is dearie. You add an IE on the end. All right, dearie, no problem. So my grandma might say to me, come here, dear, let me have a look at you, or something like that. That's a common grandma phrase. The other way we use this is for romantic partners. So if you have a husband or wife, girlfriend or boyfriend, usually it's for longer term relationships. You might say, how was your day, dear? Or, hello, dear, did you have a good day? Or something like that. So this is why you have to be careful, because if you call people dear in the real world, they'll probably get a bit weirded out. They might think, why are you being so romantic with me? Or something like that. So be very careful with that one. The next ones we can cover are these more formal ones. Sir, for men, and madam. I would say these are not so common, even though British is known for being a formal dialect of English. We don't use these very often, I would say. Usually miss is used for unmarried women, but I think it's becoming less common now, and sir and madam is perhaps more common. However, there's also the other reason not to use madam, because it's usually used for older women or adult women, and it's more polite not to imply that women are old. So I just want to mention this as a warning. If you meet a 20-year-old girl, woman, and you call her madam, it could be rude in some cases because it sounds like you're saying she's older than she is. It really depends on the person, but that's just one thing to keep in mind. But anyway, I would say for sir and madam, these are used in, say, like a posh restaurant, something like that. The waiter might say, please have a seat, sir, or something, or some very, upscale, posh establishment. But in most customer service situations, this is too formal. I'm going to give you a few now that are all grouped together. So we've got darling, sweetie, which is probably short for sweetheart, and I think I mentioned before dearie as well, dearie. All of these are in the same group because they're used, again, by older people talking to younger people. So for most of my viewers, I think this won't apply to you, but maybe you will hear this sometimes when people talk to you. So someone might say, yes, how can I help you, sweetheart? Maybe it's like an old lady talking to a younger boy or something like that. Well, yeah, all right, darling, no problem. Darling also has that other use of sometimes being used by men to talk to women. Again, perhaps it is decreasing, it's becoming less common because it can be a little bit rude and perhaps sexist again. But that's something to keep in mind. It can be used in that way as well. But I wouldn't recommend you doing that. And the biggest category is for couples, people in a relationship, especially married couples. A lot of these can be used in that situation. So I'll list off the ones now that we can use. We've got love, dear, darling, sweetheart, honey, or for short you can say hun, and many, many more. But these are some of the most common ones. All of these can be used when talking to your husband or wife. A man or a woman can use them. It doesn't really matter. We also have some American terms, which I think are fairly common. I use these myself because I think they sound quite warm and friendly. For example, buddy. Buddy is like a very casual way of saying friend or mate. Like, hey buddy, how are you? It's very friendly and warm feeling to me. Another one is dude, which sounds a bit cooler. Like, hey dude, what's going on? How are you doing, dude? It's kind of a cool way of saying friend. Maybe the American equivalent of mate might be bro, which I like a lot. We're such good friends, we're like family. All right, bro, how's it going, bro? So we do use American terms as well. We also have many, many regional terms. So places around the UK, they have terms like duck or pet. Ones like that that are really specific. I'm not going to get into them today because I don't know a lot of them and it's not so useful perhaps, but keep that in mind anyway. So I hope you found this short list of terms useful. Just to repeat what I said at the beginning, if you're unsure about any of them, be very careful when using them on new people. But by all means, listen carefully to how they're used, and if any of these rules apply to you today, maybe you could give it a go and use them yourself. But it's not necessary, you don't need to use them. I simply made this video because I get a lot of questions about this. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this topic, you have some similar requests for me, then please let me know. But for now, I will leave you and thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Want more lessons from me? I teach group classes. I also have podcast transcripts, accent training courses and classes, and of course much more. Become a member today at levelupenglish.school.